Hello, I am here about to show you guys how to use some textures quickly, hopefully in less than 10 minutes, and a few different techniques that you can use for when you're using them. Nothing is definitely better than the other thing, it's just depending on what you want to use it for. So, I've already selected my picture, and I've already selected a couple textures that I want to use with it. It's going to kind of look complicated, but it's very, very simple. Here we go. For the first one, I'm just selecting my Move tool over here, and I'm going to drag the texture over on top of the photo. I'm going to make sure it's where I want it to be, and dragging it over there actually creates another layer. And this is obviously too much going on here. So I want to bring the opacity down in the layer to where I like it. See opacity over here. I think that looks good. I actually really don't want this color over the house or the grass. So I'm going to come over here to the eraser and erase that part of the layer. Now I would normally be super careful when I'm doing this, but since I'm trying to do this quickly, it's alright. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my next layer. And again, I'm just going to drag it over on top of the other photo. Now this one, instead of just bringing the opacity down, what I'm going to do is go over here and select Soft Light, which will make it sort of blend into the picture. You can see that's with it, that's without it. So it's a bit of a difference, and I like how that is, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Now with this one, I really don't want any of this white going on in the picture. I really just kind of want the black drips and some of the gray drips. So I'm going to do this quite a bit differently. I'm going to go up to Select Color Range, and I'm just going to click on the area that has the color in it that I like. Now first I want the, and you can kind of see over here, it's giving you an example of what is going to get pulled off of the picture. So that looks good to me. Right now I would just want all of this black stuff here. So I'm going to hit OK, and still with my Move tool, I'm going to wait till it turns into little scissors over there's a spot, and drag it over onto the photo. Now it again creates another layer. And there it is. Now I also want to use some of this gray, so I'm going to deselect my already selected color range and do it again. Pick color range, and I'm just going to select an area that looks good. Do a little bit less there. And it's going to go ahead and select all of that for me. And I'm going to drag it over onto my photo. Now I like it, but you can't see the house underneath it. So what I'm just going to do is drag down the opacity a little bit. And once you're complete with your photo, now if you want to, right here, if you plan on working on it later, you can save it as a Photoshop file if you ever think you're going to change it. But since I am not going to do that, normally what I do is I flatten my image by going to Layer, Flatten Image, and I always run a little bit of levels to kind of bring everything together and make it look how I want it to look. So there's the first example of how to do it. Now for the next thing, it's going to be pretty similar. Let me grab the pictures for it quick. Okay. So here's my photo. It's just a black and white photo, and I've selected this color and this one. Now I picked these colors because I wanted the photo to kind of look a little bit antiqued. And I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drag them over onto the picture. And again, I'm going to hit that with some soft light. And all these things over here, they do all kinds of crazy things. You should mess around with them, try it out, because it's interesting all the different things they can do. And again, I'm going to do soft light on this one as well. Now, I like what it's doing. It's obviously it's a little bit more texture than what I would normally do, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So it looks good in the background, but as you can see on her shoulder, her arm, her face, it's all looking kind of crazy. So I'm going to merge these layers so I can work on them together. And I have to go back through and select soft light again. Okay, so the layers are merged together. Now, if I go ahead and just erase this like I did with the house previously, so let's just say I'm going to erase it. You can see the actual photo is coming through, and it's black and white, so it's going to be black and white. And like I said before, I don't want this to look like that. So a way to do it and still keep the color of your texture, we're going to delete what I just did, is to use the healing brush, which is right here. Now, in order to use the healing brush, you actually have to have a pattern gray selected. And Photoshop, as far as I know, does not come with that gray pattern. So quickly I'm going to show you how to make it. You're going to make a new file and do it 15 by 15 with a resolution of 150. There we are. And then you're going to go to Edit, Fill, and choose 50% gray. Now, it's not, the default is not to come up as 50% gray. It'll probably come up as foreground color or something like that. So make sure that 50% gray is selected and put OK. There it is. Now you have to actually make it a pattern. So you go into Edit again, down to Define Pattern, and you name it. Let's name it Pattern 2 and hit OK. So I believe the default for the healing tool is going to be selected there. What you're going to do is select Pattern and then make sure that the gray is selected. And there you go, you've got it. So you can delete this. You just needed it for that. So I have the healing tool selected now, and I'm going to heal some. Now again, I would be way more careful, whoops, way more careful with this than I am being right now. But let's just say that's what I want healed. So it's going to go ahead and heal it. It takes a couple minutes usually because it's healing everything. And you'll see when it's finished that instead of turning the black and white that the photo is, it picks up the color from the texture there. And you can see on her arms, it's not crazy textury on her anymore. We've healed that. It just stayed black and white. Now see where I went out of the lines, you can see it there too. But it keeps up that color so the whole picture will blend. It usually works really, really well. I mostly use this on portraits and things like that, but if there's something else that I want the color to stay the same, that's what I use it for. So anyway, so there's that. I have one other thing to show you. This is just quick. People all the time ask me how I do my ads and things with backgrounds. So I'm just gonna, or you can make Christmas cards like this. You can do anything like this. So I'm going to make a new file, new, again. We're gonna do, I guess we'll just do a 5x7 because that's pretty normal. Okay. So we've made our, this is going to be our card. We're going to go over here, back to the layer palette, and click on Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer, and pick a solid color. And since we're doing this quickly, I'm just going to pick something. Let's do that. Okay, so there's our color. Now, this is just a photo I took not very long ago, and I really just want to use the bars. I don't like everything going on in the background. So, like we did with the textures, as long as everything's pretty much the same color, you can do select color range and select somewhere on the bars that's similar to the overall. That looks good to me. Make it a little more. Okay, and it's going to select that color. I'm not sure if it did it. I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure I got the color that I wanted. So select color range. We'll go with, let's just do that. Okay, so I'm grabbing my move tool and I'm going to drag it onto. Okay, I'm hitting Command T and Command 0 for oh goodness, what did I hit those for? Well, the Command T, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word, I'm sorry. It brings it up so you can move it. I can't think of what it is. And then Command 0 shows you the entire photo. Transform, that's what it is. So it's on there. And I'm going to, it's a little crazy for me as a background, so I'm just going to go and do soft light, just like we did on the other pictures. And that's quite a bit better. I might even bring down the opacity a little. And sometimes I would even just throw a texture over this, just to add a little bit more depth. So then we're going to take our picture and drag it on there. Command T for transform and Command 0 to show you the whole photo. And I'm just going to fit the photo into here. Let's just say like that. I'm doing this quickly. I would usually do things a lot more carefully. So there it is. And so I would go over here. I would get the text. Oh, there it is. And I want to make sure that you can see what I'm typing. I would write whatever. Right now I'm going to write Art by Kriea. If you have any questions about any of this, you can contact me at that email, artbykrea.com. or at AOL.com. You could go to artbykrea.com and contact me as well. Or you could go to facebook.com/Kriea or /artbykrea as well. That's my fan and my personal page. Anyway, this concludes our example. Normally, instead of the email and Facebook, I would put like all the information about the ad or whatever in there, just FYI. I didn't really explain that very well. Anyway, I hope you like this. I hope you got something from it. If you do have any questions about anything at all, please feel free to contact me. And I will talk to you guys all soon. Thanks!